I'm LT, and thanks for watching Truck Tech. Now, whether we're out on the trail or working in the shop, you're not going to want to miss a single episode. So all you got to do is hit that subscribe button.
Well, there she sits. After 2.5 years, our 55 Ford F100 is finally complete. Now, just as we've turned her last nut and bolt, she's going away today.
That's right, sold to the highest bidder, as they say. Later on, we're gonna take her up to Mecum auctions, where Jeremy's baby will be rolled across the block with no reserve.
No reserve.
That's pretty scary.
That's really scary. Let's face it, there's only one guy out in the audience that really wants this truck. It may go pretty cheap.
Someone could get a heck of a deal.
They could, but a lot of you guys can relate. You put your heart and soul into a project just hoping that someday someone will have just as much fun with it as you had building it. But this Ford's not going away just yet.
That's right. As we look back on the build of our 55, today we're actually going to test the limits of it as well. Acceleration, cornering, braking, and all that fun stuff. But first, let's look at where our classic Ford adventure began.
It was right here in Alan Jackson's garage. No, not the country guy, this guy, who originally purchased the truck. He had the cab chopped 2 inches, and although he kept the original frame, Alan bought a ton of new parts, including a new tailgate, new bed sides, and new bed floor. The fenders were already bodyworked. I mean, his dream truck was well underway.
I knew what I wanted to put into the truck, and so if I did sell it, I would be able to, you know, at least break even or make a little money. At that time, I just decided it was just time to go ahead and get rid of this project and go ahead and move on to the next one. I will tell you now, you guys, I lost money. Either lose a little bit now and give it to you guys, and I can sit back and watch the episodes and think, man, this is awesome. I can see where this truck's progressing. I do hate to see this one go, and hopefully I get to see it whenever it's done.
Well, Alan, if you're watching, I hope you like what you see. Hey man, have you ever sold a project halfway through?
I have, and I regret it to this day. I had to move off to college, and unfortunately, my mid-70 C10 had to go. But hey, if you have it, call me.
Now, we did have a big decision to make. Should we build on a 60-year-old steel frame or go with something a little more modern?
JW Rod Garage supplied us with an all-new fully boxed chassis, set up with a Mustang 2 style front suspension and rack and pinion steering, and a 4-link out back. And let me tell you, it turned out great.
You know, underneath this truck really has a clean appearance. The lines are all very tidy, the exhaust looks great, and the crowning touch are these orange Crown Performance braided brake lines.
The axle we hung underneath the frame is a custom width 9-inch Currie with 370 gears and a posi. And assembling all these new parts was a breeze.
I would say the most buzz we've gotten about our project is the power plant. We wanted to keep it all in the Ford family, but didn't want to install just another Windsor small block or even a Coyote. Our out-of-the-box solution was this 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 with a pair of turbos bolted to the side. And everybody knows rowing the gears is more fun than just shifting it into drive, so a 5-speed Tremec was provided by American Powertrain.
This drivetrain combination is literally a blast to drive, but I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Rather than taking the risk of painting over someone else's bodywork, we blasted the cab back to bare metal, and it's a good thing we did. There were several areas that needed additional work before we could put our name on it, like the shaved rip rail, which Jeremy welded solid, and this body air vent, which needed to be metalworked properly.
Now, could we have just slapped mud over these spot welds and been done with it? Not on your life. Anytime you do a patch panel like we did here, you always want to make sure you weld it up solid. If you don't, and you get any kind of body flex or you get any shrinkage from the sun or anything like that, good chance that'll bust on you.
1, 2,
Next,
3, go.
we brought in 2 good friends of mine, Larry Harville and Brett Stevens from Sticks Rod Shop. They helped us mock up the entire truck so we could set all the gaps. We roughed up the metal with grinders and skim coated in filler, then block sanded to ensure the finished product was laser straight. It's a time-consuming process, but the work speaks for itself.
Over at the engine bay, fitting an intercooler into a twin-turboed 55 F100 presented some challenges. I mean, it's not like you can just go out and buy one and expect it to bolt right into the truck straight out of the box. To keep the inlet air temperature under control, Jay Thornton from Vibrant Performance took our measurements and fabbed up a custom 2-core intercooler that mimics the look of a classic 50s radiator. Then the entire truck was blown apart once again so the frame could be given a paint job nicer than most vehicles get off the assembly line.
I contacted Hermance Design, who drew a rendering around my paint scheme. This gave me a visual on the layout, one that would be subtle but still give a modern look to our classic ride. It began with a white and gray two-tone with an orange pinstripe on the hood. It's timeless but stylish for years to come, rather than some of those trendy paint schemes that can become quickly dated.
Honestly, Jerry, I think you've outdone yourself. This truck looks pretty awesome.
Thanks, man. Figuring it up, I've got a little under 500 hours in this thing.
That's a lot of hours.
It is,
a lot of time.
Man, just look at it.
All we had left to do was wire the truck and create a custom interior, both with the help from our friends Scott Bowers and Tommy Perkins, who made sure our orange accent made it into our repurposed Nissan Altima seats.
The glass that came with the truck, it fell a little short, so Glass Guy Chicago cut a new one for us. Which brings us to where we are today.
It's taken about a year for us to transform this truck from a pile of bare metal parts into the show-stopping, running and driving Restomod you see behind us. And there's just two of us. We don't have any behind-the-scenes stunt mechanics or really that much help.
Yeah, we're only one shift here, but for this truck, we spent many late nights and a lot of weekends just to make this truck what it is today. To me, from the factory, these trucks look very unproportioned. The roofs are really tall on them, they lean back a little bit, so bringing that roof line down really slicked out the way this truck looks. Let alone with getting rid of the door handles, really cleaned it up. We stretched the rear fenders, we pulled the running boards up towards the body, and even raised the bed a little bit. It just made the truck look more of how I thought it should look from the factory.
With the modern drivetrain and all the subtle modifications we've made to this truck, we might as well call it a 2017 F100.
We know she's pretty, but how will she perform? Next, the guys will shake her down. And later, what would you bid to own our Restomod?
Hey, welcome back to Truck Tech. We've taken you step by step through the build of our F100, and well, there's only one thing left to do.
That's right, after putting that many hours into a project, the only thing you can do is get out on the road and put some miles on it.
That's right, let's hit the road. Ready for a ride?
Let's do it.
Pays off, it does. Man, this is a long time coming. It's good to get the truck out on the road again, where it's meant to be. And who knows how long it's been since she's felt wind in her sails.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. You know, normally I don't like the sound of an V6, but when you put two turbos on the side of it,
It's not bad.
no, not at all. From the outside, we've got a classic looking truck, but underneath, it's all modern, all brand new. It rides and handles just like a brand new truck. The high-tech coilovers up front are a far cry from the horse-drawn wagon springs many of these old trucks came with.
Banging through the gears of our Tremec 5-speed, you really get the feel of what it's like to be in a sports car. Plus, a lot better than that boring automatic.
Oh man, you can't beat it. Like, automatics are great and all, but there's just nothing that beats shifting your own gear. You know, you hear that blow off now between shifts, and just listen to that soundtrack.
So torquey. The truck rides really good too.
Absolutely.
Another great thing too is we have plenty of power.
That's right.
But we'll still get over 20 miles a gallon.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's certainly not the fastest thing I've ever been in. Like
But it's fast enough.
It's fast enough. Yeah, it'll get you in trouble.
Exactly. And on our favorite private road, I know our neighbors won't mind. How about right here?
Now, we're not done with our shakedown just yet. To test our truck's cornering, acceleration, and braking, we borrowed our fire department's training pad, where Jeremy and I set up a makeshift road course.
With some sharp curves and good straightaways, I'll make an initial pass to get a good baseline. I'll tell you what, to be a 3.5 liter, it's very impressive. It's got a lot of power. The only problem I'm having is getting the rubber to stick to the ground. If I can get it to stick down to this concrete, I think we'll make some good times. What I noticed when we were driving the truck, when we were cornering, you could hear a little bit of squeaking. What that was, it was the tire just barely rubbing the inside of the bed. So making a slight adjustment with the panhard bar, see if we can move the axle a little bit, eliminate that. Man, torque on this thing is crazy. Turbos are so small, so they spool so quick. Just keep the rubber to the ground, it can do really good. A little bit of a straightaway here.
And it looked like a really fun run, but it looks like it's a little bit hard to put all the power down, especially when you're in first gear. Those turbos come on, it just wants to spin the tires loose, but definitely looks like a fun ride.
Have fun.
I'll get behind the wheel for a go. See if there's any additional adjustments we can make to the suspension.
Man, the truck has a tremendous amount of torque. That thing really moves. Got a little bit of body roll, but other than that, I mean, that's really good to be a 1955 model. A few upgrades though.
So the next adjustment we're gonna make is gonna be on the compression setting on the dampers. We're gonna try to make the front end stick just a little bit more and make the back end just a little bit loose to help the truck rotate around the corners a little bit quicker. Now it definitely turns in, but the back end is a little bit loose. You may need to work on that. Yeah, it's a little bit loose, it just lights them up. But the turn in is awesome. So the changes did exactly what we wanted them to do. We just went a little bit too far.
As for the Ford stopping power, money.
Well, that's definitely a workout moving the wheel back and forth, but it's a blast. I just wish I had a little bit longer course, get maybe into second gear, but woo, that's fun, especially for a brand new truck.
Next, we're wheeling and dealing at Mecum Auctions.
I've had a blast today slinging this classic F100 around these cones. And I have to tell you, for a show truck, it handles pretty darn good. And you know what? I hate to see it go.
Me too. You know, despite the hundreds and hundreds of man hours we have in this truck, a day like today makes it all worth it. But unfortunately for us, this is our last day with this truck. But hopefully, the new owner have just as much fun as we did.
You think you want to clean it up for him a little bit?
Man, I don't want to detail this truck. Why'd you sling so much rubber all over it?
Well, you gotta have some
Look at all
fun.
the bugs you killed. Time for one last chore. Get this baby sold so we can buy more projects. That means road trip up to Louisville and the Kentucky Expo Center. Home this weekend for Mecum Auctions. This place is amazing. It's like a traveling carnival of everything automotive. 13 cities are chosen each year for this made-for-TV event.
But to be here in person and experience the sheer volume of cool cars and trucks, not to mention the bidding action on the block,
22,000 on a 21, 2.
it's just plain cool.
26,000.
Dana Mecum is the deal maker. His son Frank is heir apparent and runs the show, along with about 170 support staff. They've made Mecum Auctions the world's largest collector car auction company.
After doing this for 30 years, every auction there's still some new circumstance, a new way to work a deal to make it happen that you haven't, that's uncharted water.
We knew 25 years ago what this would be. It just took everybody else that many years to catch up to us.
So how easy is it to sell your ride at Mecum? Do what we did. Send in an application, fill out the packet they send you, which includes your entry fee and instructions to mail in your title. Then all you gotta do is show up.
You know, one thing about Mecum Auctions, we don't discriminate against values or types of cars. Any single person that wants to bring a vehicle to Mecum Auction is going to have the opportunity to do that. And that's important because what we want to show is the spectrum and the variety of what's out there, what's available in the collector car world. It's not all about the $100,000 plus cars. We know that, and our buyers know that too.
Howdy. Hey man, welcome to Mecum. Appreciate
We
it.
checked in 2 days before our lot hits the auction block. And if your paperwork is in order, they take your keys, and she's gone.
Does
Does it hurt to watch somebody else drive your truck away?
It's like being cheated on. It's just not right.
Here's how much it costs. Buyers pay a 10% commission. Sellers, or consigners as they call you, pay 10% if you set a reserve, but sell at no reserve and that commission drops to 5%. Bidders register in advance for $100, and that gets you and a guest in the door.
You pay the $100, we take a $500 credit authorization on a major credit card or $500 cash deposit. You pay with a check when you buy the car, you take the car home with you. We hold the titles for 3 weeks waiting for all the checks to clear. Simple as that.
Now, this is actually our last chance. We talked about whether or not to go with a reserve on this truck, and I think we're leaning to no reserve. What do you think?
I think at no reserve, it's less expensive for us to sell the truck. Plus, at no reserve, it may pique a little interest with the bidders. They may start bidding and, hey, may not stop.
Hey, that means more money for new projects, right?
Exactly.
Well, there we go. No reserve.
No reserve. I don't know what I'm thinking.
The time has come for our turn on the auction block. What'll be the high bid? Find out next.
Well, here we are. It's finally auction day. We're walking through the staging area, checking out some cars as they wait their turn to cross the block. And in just a few minutes, we get to find out exactly how much our 55 is gonna go for. Man, this real Shelby? Every vehicle here at Mecum hits the block reserve or no reserve. Reserve means there's a hidden minimum price the seller is willing to accept.
No reserve means it will sell regardless of the price. Ready? Let's get this thing off.
There's been a lot of people that have expressed an early interest in this truck because they know it's going to sell. So there's extra buzz on all the vehicles that sell no reserve. Is it a little bit risky? Yeah, but I'm confident it's going to do really well.
4, 3, 2, 1, transition, and we're working.
We are back in Louisville. Scott Hogue.
It's showtime, and ours was put in a premier lot. Mecum producers put me in the booth with announcers Scott Hogue and John Craman.
Well, I got to soak it all in from the floor. I'm nervous, man. This is the time.
That is your handiwork, and it's about ready to cross the auction block here. Tell me what you're feeling right now as that thing gets ready.
A lot of excitement. You know, a lot of buzz around the truck today, and it's been fantastic. This auction is absolutely amazing. But yeah, a lot of buzz today, so I'm excited to see what happens. This truck was a lot more than just building a truck on TV. It was a lot of late nights and a lot of weekends. So there's a lot of effort that's went into this truck, and I'm absolutely pleased with how it turned out.
Oh, I've got butterflies in my stomach now. And here we go. Come on! The auctioneer starts high and lowers the opening bid until someone bites. They bid at $20,000, and from what we could tell, we had 5 bidders in on the action. 2 on the phone and 3 on the floor.
Yes. 42. We missed 42. 42. Yes, 42. We're at 42.
You know, I'm sitting there talking to the guys, watching the monitor at the same time. Just incredible how quickly the price was jumping up.
And it's paying off, my friend. We're already at $45,000 and still climbing.
47. It's 46.
47. 48. Oh no, 48, 50.
And just like that, the bid jumped $7 grand. That's where the absentee bidders dropped out with 2 left.
That just blows my mind.
55, I'm gonna get it on 57. Are you? Hold on. 57, now 60,000. 60,000 going once. 57, 60,000 twice. Sold $57,000.
And somebody has just bought the truck, Jeremy,
awesome.
for $57,000.
I couldn't be more pleased with that, guys. That's absolutely amazing.
Well, it's a testament to both you and LT's vision and also both of your guys' ability to create this truck. Our hats off to you, a couple of really young, super talented guys. Really so pleased to have you here with us. The fact you bought the truck, it's really been our honor, man.
Hey, thanks
I mean
so
that
much.
sincerely.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
I just had to have that truck. I mean, it's just one-off, one of a kind, just had to have it. Just the workmanship, the design, just everything about the truck just jumped out at you.
Buy a lot of tires for it.